it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So for this week, we are taking a look at some of the new books that have been added to our collection in the recent weeks. And we have had some amazing titles added, and I cannot wait to share some of them with you. In fact, we have 6 new books that we're going to take a look at. A little something for everyone, but I promise you again, there are way more than just these 6, but this is to give you a little taste. So let's get started and let's see what we got. So first one we have is Cuba in My Pocket. So it is 1961 and Cuba is living in Cuba, where the dictator Fidel Castro has come to power and he's just strengthening his grip every single day, completely changing how it is to live on this island. And what I mean by that is there are shortages of supplies, such as like food, water, medicine. There's neighbors who are spying on one another and they're turning each other in order to get some of these supplies they need from the government. And then if you are not in line with Castro and what he thinks and believes, then you're thrown in prison, especially if you decide to speak out against it. Now, Cuba, who is 12 years old, he finds himself coming to this age, and this is a true thing that happened, that once you turn 12 years old and you were a boy, you were then drafted into Cuba's army and you were sent to Russia in order to train to become a soldier. And you did not have a choice in this. Now, Cuba is turning 12 years old, and his family does not want this to happen to him because there's no telling if they are ever going to see him again or if he's going to be alive after all of this. Now, in order to avoid this, his family makes a decision that could be deadly for all of them. They decide they're going to get Cuba out of the country and they're going to send him to the United States to live with a distant family member who none of them have ever met. Now, when Cuba gets there, he has to figure out how to navigate Miami without really knowing anyone, not knowing the language, not even really understanding the food. He finds himself at school. He has no idea what he's doing or how he's going to survive. And as he tries to fit into this new place, he cannot help but wonder what's going on in Cuba and with his family. I mean, there's no way to really contact them, especially not like how it is today. One day, though, he receives earth-shattering news that his father has been placed in prison, and Cuba has no idea what's going to happen or what he can possibly do to try to make a difference. Now, this is based on the author's father and his experiences growing up in Cuba and how he came to the United States. And you'll read about a piece of history that isn't really told or explored, especially through books. And it's incredibly eye-opening, amazing read. This is Cuba in My Pocket. Maya and the Robot. So it's the start of 5th grade, and Maya's having a hard time. Because it's going to be, first off, it's the first year that she's not in class with her best friends. She's going to be by herself without them. They get the cool teacher and she's in with the strict teacher. And then she finds out that not only is she with the strict teacher, and her bully is also in this class too. So she's going to have to put up with that every day. And then she doesn't have any other friends. So fast forward a couple of days, she finds herself helping out at Mr. Mac's convenience store after school, and as she's cleaning, she stumbles across this barrel-bodied robot that Mr. Mac's son had started creating and working on when he was younger. Now, Maya decides that she wants to finish this robot. She wants to complete this project, and she also thinks, wouldn't it be awesome if she actually made this robot and then she could have a new friend? Now, when she's successful building the robot, who she names Ralph, not only can Ralph be a friend, but he can also walk, he can talk, he can clean, he can help her do her schoolwork. It's gonna be amazing. So Maya's new friend is a robot. Now, things are going great until she decides that she's going to bring Ralph as her entry into her school science fair. And everything kind of just breaks loose from there. Now, this is more than just a robot book. There's also things in here about family, friendship, what it's like to be in 5th grade, learning who you are and having confidence to be yourself. There's humor mixed in. There is some serious stuff, but it takes a really good look at it. This is Maya and the Robot. The defiant growing up in the Jim Crow South. Now, this autobiography that's up by and about Wade Hudson, this is all about how it was like to grow up in the South with what were called the Jim Crow laws. Now, these were laws intended to make things more difficult for Black and African Americans just because of the color of their skin. And this happened here. This is a real thing that happened. Now, growing up in Mansfield, Louisiana, Wade was born as a natural leader, and he got these amazing and great grades. And before he knew it, he graduates high school, and he is the first person in his family to go to college. It is while he is there at college, though, that Wade starts to see the world differently than what it was in his small town. And he realizes all the injustices that are being done, not only to him, but to others as well. And he decides he wants to do something about it. So he takes it upon himself to put together this civil rights organization and to lead student activists. They're gonna do some activism. They're gonna bring attention to this. But because of all of this, especially growing up in the South and being Black and with the Jim Crow laws, this puts a target on his back. And before he knows it, he is being accused of a crime he did not commit. And he finds himself sitting in a jail cell, pretty sure that this is where he's going to spend the rest of his life. All because they just kind of want to silence his message. Now, this powerful story, which is true, it's his autobiography. It's what really happened to him. It will have you reading, seeing, and learning about this part of our history that we need to learn from, as well as why it's important to play a role when you see an injustice, why it's important to speak up, or what you can do to bring light or attention to things that need to be changed and improved upon, and to stand up for what is right. This is an amazing autobiography. Even if you don't like autobiographies, you will love this one. This is Defiant. 54 Things Wrong with Gwendolyn Rogers. Okay, now Gwendolyn Rogers, she learns differently from all the other schools in her class. And then not only does she learn differently, she kind of behaves and acts differently too. But no one seems to know what is wrong with her. In fact, there are 54 things wrong with her. And that is according to what she learns when she reads the IEP that's been put together for her upcoming meeting with her parents. And it's all the things her teachers have written about her. And she's not supposed to see this. So when she reads this, she is in utter shock. No one can seem to figure out, again, like what's wrong with her, but they have no problem listing some of the things. Like, for example, they say she's inattentive, that she's over-emotional, that she's too demanding, that she's just lazy. And those are just 4 out of the 54 things. Now, she decides that she wants to prove everyone wrong. They just think she's bad, but she knows that's not the case, but she doesn't know how to explain it. And then she decides she's going to develop a program for herself in hopes that if she can acknowledge her challenges, then she can control them.